the one thing that surprises me most perhaps is that 2018 BMW 230i, this is the F22 generation, and not really considered the enthusiast choice. But today I'm curious, is it actually somewhat underrated by car enthusiasts? This model is powered by the B48, that's an inline turbocharged engine making 248 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and normally more desirable BMWs, whether a 2 Series or other models, are generally the 6-cylinder variants. The car weighs in right around 3,350 pounds. We have McPherson strut and multi-link rear, Michelin PS4S rubber, 225 and 245 section width, front to rear respectively. Now the owner Nathan, whose 6 Series we already reviewed on the channel, he's 6'5", so a big reason why he got this car was just being able to fit. And it took him 6 months to find an example that, first of all, was a 6-speed manual, did not have a sunroof, because again, fitting with the helmet for track days, and came with the track handling package. Now the track handling package includes the M240i auxiliary radiators, the brakes, the EDC, that's their adaptive dampers, also variable ratio steering. So he eventually found one, and a year ago, these were going, at least this example, $25,000. Nowadays, around $18,000. You can find a similar example, again, it's going to depend auto versus manual and the options and such, but from anywhere from $12,000 to $25,000. But again, keep in mind, with the manual, getting a 2017 plus facelifted model and such, it's going to run you higher up in that range. Now in terms of mods, he added the British Bird suspension kit. That comes with the Eibach springs, revalved Bilstein monotune dampers. That does remove the EDC though, you don't get the adaptive dampers anymore. And overall, the spring rate and compression damping is about 10% stiffer, but rebound damping significantly softer. Again, optimizing this for bumpy British back roads. These cars do come with an open diff, although he is hoping to add an LSD in the future. And he also wants to add the M2 control arms to the front to get a little bit more steering feel and negative camber. He added this extension right here, the spacers, to bring the wheel further out to him, because he's 6'5", but even at 6'1", I very much appreciate that. I'm able to get into a better seating position without having to feel like I'm driving like that, to get my legs comfortable. Not much to say on the interior. It looks like all other BMW interiors of this era. And we have a few different modes here. So Sport Plus, Sport, Comfort, Eco, Pro, but we're gonna do DSC off. There we go, DSC inactive. And what this does is, first of all, it allows us to do rev matching. In this whole 2 Series generation, the only way to rev match yourself and turn off the auto rev match is with DSC off. And also it enables this ELSD is what they call it. It's just an open diff that has brake vectoring in the rear. And the throttle and steering in this DSC off mode is actually the same as it would be in Comfort. First impressions, the engine surprises you because this is a 4-cylinder turbocharged BMW, not a 6-cylinder like you might expect, and the sound is quite different, also a bit on the quiet side. A little bit of turbo lag too, gotta keep the revs higher. Heel toe, nice and easy, no learning curve there. Right off the bat too, I can tell this feels so much better than some of the other examples of 2 Series I've driven on this road and other roads. Far more confidence inspiring. The suspension, it's not getting upset over these bumps. And I remember driving a base M2 on this road, and it definitely did not feel as planted. I would say this is actually much closer to the optimal OEM setup that the car should have come with from factory, because it is comfortable and you still have some body motion, some body roll and such. It's not too sharp, it's not too punishing, but it's controlled in a way and balanced with the ride comfort that you're like, oh yeah, this is very aligned and congruent with a 230i. All these inputs also feel so congruent. Everything's a little bit lighter, a little bit less sharp, less heavy, less razor edge than something like an M2. Let's give you guys a pull. The engine definitely feels more turbocharged than you may ideally want. It's not going to give you that that satisfaction of the immediacy of naturally aspirated or even the build. But again, for a car like this that is not razor edge, I'm finding all these things kind of align with soft, comfortable car you can daily, while also being dynamically engaging enough. Heel toe rev match, no issue, no learning curve. Quite a good throttle response and quite natural, especially for a turbocharged engine. The one thing that surprises me most perhaps is that this actually has some steering feel. Now the steering isn't excellent in the sense that there's some slop here, and that was actually intentional to make the highway driving less darty and a little bit more controllable. So once you get past that initial slop though, you have this very natural directness and very willing to change direction with the front end. And I think part of that is the B48 being 4 cylinders, smaller, lighter, and further behind the front axle, because you're of course lobbing off 2 cylinders. You get that front end to feel even more sharp and natural. And this is before he adds those control arms to get additional negative camber. You're getting a little bit of steering feedback too through the wheel. Mid-corner load up, not great. It's pretty consistent. And it is relatively light. Let's actually go into Sport. Sport Plus. Now again, we of course artificially weighted up with this electronic power assist rack. You know what? In both comfort and sport, I was concerned that sometimes when you go into sport mode, with that artificial weighting, it numbs out and reduces your ability to sense much through the steering wheel. But here, both in comfort and in sport, you can actually feel a bit of communication through the wheel. That is not like modern BMWs. That is surprising. A family member, back when I was younger, first starting to learn how to drive, had a 318 IS, the E36 generation, and that car was not powerful. It had a 4-cylinder engine, 130 horsepower, but the inputs felt so good, the steering felt great. Just how it was able to balance the comfort with the sporty dynamic feel and the enjoyment you got on the back roads. This actually reminds me of that. The owner calls this his like British BRZ or 86, which I can totally see because I consider those to be these modern reincarnations of something like the E36. Those are of course a bit smaller, right? He has issues fitting in them, at least with the stock seats and with the helmet and such. This is a little bit more usable, a little bit more in the direction of daily driver and comfort compared to something like a BRZ or 86. And if you guys know, I owned both the first and second generations. I love those cars. This is absolutely more refined, more comfortable, lighter steering, not quite as good steering as the first gen, but you have this similar nature to it, which is that it's lower power, lighter on its feet, of course, still much heavier than the 86 twins. But as soon as you hop in, all the inputs being congruent, which is a very important part of the driving experience because it reduces the learning curve. The congruence of the inputs all being lighter, you know, you have that very long BMW clutch throw, very long rubbery shift. I mean, look how long each throw is there. But it's okay, it's congruent, it's what you expect of this BMW, and you can hop in, and with the way that the chassis is tuned, with the suspension, it just inspires confidence. It tells you, push me harder, because unlike an M2, it is not getting skittish over the bumps. This is really well dialed in. And I'm actually most impressed by the front end. Now, if I were to critique the car, although I love how everything is congruent, all the inputs, you know, the shifter is very easy to use, but the throws are a little bit long. It has that BMW rubberiness. When you shift, it's hard to actually rush the shifts. I mean, it'll take it, but the revs drop really slowly. Lighter flywheel, or even just reprogramming. A lot of times you get a little bit of that rev hang due to emissions regulations. That'd be a nice way to just add a little bit more of that dynamic sharpness. The pedals are all very soft and more comfort oriented rather than sport. So as you get on the brakes, there's a little bit of that softness, a little bit of that mush. The throttle also requires a good amount of travel to actually get the car going. And again, I'm driving primarily in DSC off, so keep that in mind. It's as if you took something like a 86 and dialed it back, made it softer around the edges, made it more comfortable, made it more comfort oriented, a little bit larger, longer throws, softer inputs. That's only going to elevate this to the next level, and I am very excited to see what Nathan does with this, because I'm floored, man. This car is not supposed to be the enthusiast choice. This car is not supposed to be incredibly fun and dynamic to drive, but with this bird suspension kit and with a very good foundation, this car is stupid good value. And for less than 25K with just a few little mods, I'm really blown away. If you're the kind of person that also appreciates vehicles like the 86 Twins and want something that can do both daily duty as well as be fun on the canyons and see the occasional track day, keep this on your list. I think a lot of people are sleeping on these. My friends, let me know what you think with a comment down below. Big thanks to the owner, Nathan, for letting me review his car. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage just like Nathan did, and I'll see you all in the next one.